Hi folks, thanks for tuning in. There you go, Ricky. There's the introduction. I need to address something. There's two subjects I want to get into, and I think they're very important. And I think we need to shed a little bit of light on them and try to understand them a little bit better. Now, the first subject is something that I haven't yet thought thoroughly about, so I'm just going to try and wing it. And the other one I have more experience with, and I've contemplated it and for some time, so we'll get into that. Let's do the first one. The first idea is, one of my dear subscribers who comments, left a comment on my video, and she says, I'm struggling with that because they say that what you see outside of you is what is inside of you. But how can that be? I don't feel like that. And it's very upsetting and it makes me cry. My dear friend here, she's taken it upon herself that she feels that the pathology that's in others, right? The narcissism that's in others, the evil that's in others, right? The selfishness that's in others, the enviness, the greed that's in others, okay? And so on and so forth lies within her, within herself, right? The evils in the world, it's in you. It's a reflection of you. So that's very dangerous, because then we want to say, well, I'm not going to look at the pathology. I'm not going to look at the evils. I'm not going to look at the denial of, the self-denial that other people are in. I'm not going to look at any of that. The self-sabotage, the self-betrayal. I'm not going to look at any of that outside, because as soon as I start looking at that, then it's probably going to be inside of me, because that's what I'm seeing outside in the world as a reflection of what's inside of me. You see, this is the greatest form of gaslighting. This is the greatest form of saying, well, you want to see the world with rose-tinted glasses. And this does get into my next point subject that I want to talk about as well, on the similar wavelength. This idea that everybody is a reflection of you is not true. It's not completely true, and we don't even understand what it really means. If you have deceitful people in your life, and you've kept company with them, okay, let's say, for example, a woman has an abusive husband, and she's been in a relationship for a very long time. She feels in herself that she deserves the abusive husband, and therefore she keeps the company of her abusive husband. So when she sees the abusive husband, she realizes that's a reflection, if she looks at her husband, that she's abusing herself. You see? So in that case, yes. But what she does is that she says, I'm not going to take the abuse anymore. I'm going to better myself. I'm going to divorce my husband, and I'm going to find a man that loves me and takes care of me. And supports me, and honors me, and respects me, and sees who I am, reflects to me who I am in my true light, because I see who my true light is, and I deserve, I require, I need, I seek for somebody who is going to reflect my true light back to me, my true essence, my true worth back to me. Okay, so I'm going to break off that relationship. With the woman's going to break off the relationship with that husband, and she's going to find a man that is more suiting to her, right? So that way, there was a time when the husband was reflecting the abuse in herself, how she abuses herself, and most likely the wife, how she abuses her own children at the same time. Because again, for herself, she doesn't know her value. She feels like she doesn't have power. She feels intimidated by her husband, so she puts that, now she feels that, so she's reflecting that outwards, projecting that outwards into the world, onto her children. So she's beating her children, she's sabotaging her children, because she's sabotaging herself by being in this relationship, or getting into, let's say she doesn't heal, she gets into another abusive relationship with another man even after she gets divorced, so she's sabotaging, you see, herself by being with another man. I'm saying another abusive man, so she hasn't learned. And so then again, she will be abusive to herself and then abusive to her children. When she's not being loving to herself, she can't be really loving to her children. or supportive to her children, or caring for her children. So when we in ourselves do not honor who we are, we do not value who we are, what we do is we create an environment around us that reflects how we feel about ourselves. You see? But when we start loving ourselves, we start changing the environment that's around us and the inner landscape that's within us. So we get rid of the people in our lives that we feel are abusive, that I feel are inauthentic to a large degree. We quit the job that we feel is undemanding and doesn't pay us enough and makes us work, overtime or something like that. Right? We stop watching violent movies because we feel that there's no more violence in myself. There was a violence for myself. I used to love violent movies. I used to love it. But now, an exploitation, like I used to love porn, right? Exploitation of women, right? Because I used to exploit women. It used to give me a sense of power, a sense of self-esteem, a sense of alpha male, so-called masculinity or whatever it is. But then I stopped watching porn because I didn't feel then that it was comfortable for me to witness a woman being exploited. Just one example, right? One example. For myself, in the body that I was unhealthy. I was unhealthy, and I was a drinker. I was an alcoholic, and I was addicted to fast foods, and so my body was reflecting. I was overweight. I was on antidepressants, which is not always a terrible thing, but I was dependent on the antidepressants. So I had no self-independency, sovereignty, reliance, or somewhat, or whatever it was. It was all out there. Okay? So not all out there. I just have to stop this recording every few minutes so it saves, because it has an issue of just not saving and then I lose the recording. So not out there, but I'm saying my body will be a reflection of how I feel internally. And so what we will do again with our environments, with the relationships in our lives, with the jobs that we choose, or whatever, it will all be a reflection of how we feel in ourselves. But when we feel value in ourselves, that's when I stopped the drinking of the alcohol, when I stopped the need for the antidepressants to sort of depend on, because I started depending on myself. I started becoming independent, right? And whatever it is, I felt like I don't need the codependent relationships in my life. I didn't need people to love me and to worship me and to not worship me, but to admire me and sing my praises. I didn't need that. I didn't need people to like me so I could feel validated in myself. And so I got rid of all those people. It wasn't necessary, and I didn't need to play that act with other people as well in my life, as people in my life as well. And being involved in that kind of relationship. I wanted authentic relationships, real relationships that reflected who I truly was. Okay? But that's very, very hard to find. It's very hard to find because most people are not reflecting who they truly are. What they're reflecting on is an inauthentic self into the world, right? Inauthenticity. And what do they attract? Inauthenticity. And the thing is here, so you attract inauthenticity, but the thing is that when you only know inauthenticity, that's only what you know what to look for is inauthenticity. You don't know what is sincerity. You don't know what is true, what is authentic. You don't know. So that's what you look and that's what you seek out. Okay? Because again, you don't know thyself. When you know your truth, then you can see truth in the world. When you know your nobility, when you know your worth, you seek your truth, etc. You seek for that outside in the world. Okay, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's worth mentioning again. Just going over this, it's very important. And so the more that I know who I am and my value, the more I will manifest my life, not just manifest by thinking it, but by action. I will manifest my life in accordance that is more in balance and suiting to who I am in my nature. I was living in a very busy city before. I was living in a one-bedroom apartment before. This wasn't resonating with me. This wasn't who I was. And so I moved out of that big city and I moved into a bit of a smaller city. I wanted to move into the country, but that didn't work out. I realized what I needed, right? What was required for me, for my balance, for my well-being. And I only could know that once I knew what I needed, what was required within me. I became aware of it. My diet, I realized what I should be eating, what I shouldn't be eating. Got in touch with myself by taking foods, fast foods, and realizing this doesn't agree with me. And by taking meats and chicken, I don't eat meat and chicken, and I don't care if you do, and realizing it doesn't work for me as well. And then I coordinated my life, I mapped my life to a certain degree of where it was best suiting to the person who I am. And I was supported, and I am supported by the universe in my decisions. Because when we start knowing who we are, and we start on the process of becoming who we are, and connecting with our authenticity and our divinity and our value, then the universe opens the doors that are necessary for us to walk through. But it will not open those doors and give us the opportunity until we have actualized that in ourselves. We have the key to open those doors, right? So we get the keys within ourselves that unlock those doors, and then we change as we need to into the world. You see? So that's how we are reflecting ourselves or manifesting ourselves or taking action in the world of where we are creating an almost an ecosystem, but which is in body, mind, and spirit, which is holistic, which is what do you call it when it's homeostasis, a homeostasis which is in balance, you know. And this is very, very hard to do. And I mean, I'm still very much in the beginning stages of this, no question about it, but it's very hard to do. And some people in our lives are going to be there. It's not like we can get rid of them. Some issues, you know, it's not as clear cut and dry as it is, but we do the best that we can. And so the world is still going to, you know, I'm saying we are going to come across sometimes people that are going to reflect things within ourselves that we haven't processed, we haven't looked at, we haven't dealt with, that we are ignoring or whatever it is. We are going to find those kind of situations. We are going to forget, oh, I didn't take my car for a service. I've been, you know, a bit mindless, or I haven't done my washing, or my house is in ill repute, or, you know, I haven't taken care of it because I've just been down, feeling down, sorry for myself lately, and things have gone a bit to shit and disorganized. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And that will be a reflection of who you are. I know my body, my lower back pains, cause are coming about, and certain just headaches and things like that when I'm in myself, not connecting, I'm not in balance with myself, I'm not stretching enough, I'm not meditating enough, I'm being stimulated too much by YouTube videos and what's going on in the world and whatever it is, you know. And so my body is the symptoms of, for myself, not paying attention, not being mindful, not taking care, you know. Not taking care of myself. The body shows you. It shows you. Look at people in the world today. Their bodies will often tell you, even in their eyes will tell you, how are they doing? Overall, how are they doing? How are they feeling about who they are? So that's what I think is a reflection in that way. And so when we know our beauty and our truth, we can only really see the beauty and truth and the wonder in the world. We can only see the divinity within the world, so to speak. We can only really connect with that and have a relationship when we see our own inner beauty. I really feel when we only really know how to love ourselves, protect ourselves, care for ourselves, then we can do that to others, and we bring that into the world. You see, you'll hear parents, oh, I love my child. Sure you do. You love them from an instinctual point of view, you know, whatever it is. But at the same time, you got them hooked on fast foods. You give them unlimited access to iPads, cell phones, television at the age of 6 years old. You love your child, right? You dress them up in the latest fashions that are being told. Whatever it is that you do, you conform them, you don't realize what you are doing. You're so unconscious. I'm saying, as the parent, you're so unconscious, but you say, I love my child. Of course, you know, that's what people have to say. That's what we want to believe. We're living in an illusion. You see, and that's what we've manifested this world and projected this world, and this world is mirroring back to us the illusion. The illusion. What rhymes with persona? That what's going on today. I don't want to say the word, you know, but what rhymes with persona? Isn't that funny? That's what rhymes with work it out. I mean, not Verona, but you know what I'm talking about. It's reflecting into the world. Persona is the mask, is the personality that we wear. It reflects into the world. We manifest this into the world, so to speak. We have manifested this lie, this hoax, if you want to call it, this whatever it is, because in ourselves, we are inauthentic. We are the lie. And so that's why the world is mirroring itself back to us. That's why we are reflecting and saying, oh, this is why. I'm saying if you really look and say, okay, this is why that we're in this, because this is what's going on inside. We are inauthentic. We are lying to ourselves. You know, and so we've manifested, and that's why the current stage, but if is reflecting back to us the biggest lie. And what is the lie trying to do? It's trying to suppress us. It's trying to control us. And ourselves, we are trying to, the inauthentic part of ourselves, the ego, so to speak, it's not really the ego. The ego's got a bad rap, or the super ego, is trying to suppress and control the divinity within ourselves. Can you see the inauthentic lower self is trying to control the higher self, is trying to pin it down, is trying to make it do this and that, stand 6 feet apart, wear this, whatever it is, you know, I'm saying, the abuse of it, but all the toxins that we are taking into our bodies willingly, naively, you know, in a way, and there's innocence to it at the same time, we are bringing into ourselves, so we are self-destructing already. We are already putting in all those toxins. We are already holding the cell phone too close to our heads for too long. We are already doing that. We are already putting on this massive TV screens, the size of which we cannot believe, of a door, you know, HD, whatever it is, and we're sitting in front of that, and we're allowing it to disrupt our neurological brain waves. We're allowing it to, we have allowed it in. We have poisoned and intoxicated ourselves, right? And so as a result, the outside world is doing the same back to us, because you reap what you sow. If we lived as a culture, as human beings, as a tribe, that was connected to Gaia, to the ground, to the earth, to the soil, to the sun, to the wind, to the seasons, right? If we were connected to one another on a heartfelt basis, truthful level, right, with sincerity, if we were, you get what I'm saying, right? If we were not reliant on the Kardashians to tell us what to wear or how to talk or something like that, if we were self-thinking sovereign individuals, you know, our own artists, our own creators, whatever it is, our own magicians, our own mystics, right, our own explorers, if we were our own individual, whatever it is, we wouldn't have what's going on now on a global level, the crowd. You see, we are not individuals internally, so there's a crowd, right? As Gustave Le Bon would say, and we have sacrificed ourselves for the crowd. Anyway, the crowd is another talk that I want to get into. But we are going to manifest the tyrants. We are going to, you know, bring out and reflect. The tyrants are reflecting what's inside of us first and foremost. That's kind of what I'm saying. You see? But here we go. But, you know, what about the person who is manifesting, is understanding their truth, their value, their love, their divinity, right? They're still in this world, and so you're getting they're still dealing with all these evils and these characters, whatever. So in truth, you know, I'm saying for my dear friend here, you know, the subscriber who leaves the comment, for her, the evils out there are not of her own doing anymore. They're not of her own doing anymore. When she sees other people who are narcissistic, who are nihilistic, who are unsympathetic, right? Who are malevolent, who are malicious, who are manipulative, right? Or whatever it is. That's not a reflection of who she is anymore. right? She has moved beyond that and rised above that. And when she sees it in the world, it's because she sees it, because she sees the distortion. She sees that that is evil. The evil people, the unconscious people, do not see evil, or they do not see, okay, people don't like me saying evil because it's like it's just a perception. So, the darkness, the unhealthiness. The people that are unhealthy, they don't see the unhealthiness most of the time. People are going along goose-stepping, they're saying, bring me the needle, hallelujah, let's get this over and done with. They do not see what's going on for many, many, many people. Do not see what's happening. A lot of people do, but many don't. Many don't. Many can't work out this fabrication that's going on because they can't work out the fabrication that's within themselves. If you want to understand what's going on the world stage with all of this happening, just understand yourself. Understand how you deceive yourself. Understand how you trick yourself, how you sabotage yourself. Understand, know thyself, and you will know the world and the workings of the world. I mean, not while we're here. I mean, you will understand this more so. These things will be more apparent to you, but not obvious and not concrete. You won't have conclusions, but you'll have hell of a good takes on it that can serve you very well. So that's my message to my dear friend, and you know who you are, that the people in your lives are not a reflection of who you are. That's something else now. They're there to help you, I'd like to think, to learn how to still honor yourself, right? And some of them are there. Like I'm saying, they still will be there even when you're honoring ourselves. I don't know. It's not a be all and end all. It's not everything. It's not like everything is a projection. Everything is a mirroring of you. It's not like that. Not everything. When we use the word everything, always, forever, we don't understand these words, whatever it is. And so that never is also another one, These are all very new age terms, by the way, And so, I think you get what I'm saying is that we're still here on this planet to learn different lessons and for different purposes as well, for the greater good of humanity as well. We're serving a purpose here. So it's not like, well, I've learnt everything I've and therefore I don't, and I do think that this ascension that is happening is being brought on by the people who feel that they deserve a better reality, a better existence, a more holistic, more agreeable, a more sustainable, a more honest, a more authentic, a more healthy dimension to be working with. And I think that's what's needed by the conscious folk and the awakened folk, if that's what you want to call it. That's what I think is more of an awakened person, is know who you are, know what your worth is. Not that you've woken up to the bloody, conspiracy of the controlling hand in this world or whatever it is, the shadows, who lies in the shadows and whatever. No, that's part of it, but do me a favor. So I think for the people that are awakened and the soul is awakened, that they are, in manifesting and envisioning and giving birth to the dimension or bringing that door, that pathway, that, opportunity for that other dimension to present itself, whereby we can inhabit that, and I'd like to consider myself one of those people, Why shouldn't I? Maybe I should own that. Maybe I don't own that. There's humility is needed, but also responsibility of who you are and what you are about is required. You see? And so maybe that's our job here. And so just because we're still around dealing with the circus and the freaks out there, and the narcissists, they're not a reflection of us. They're not a reflection of us. Those are just reflections of past selves, if you want to call it, or whatever it is. But it's not a reflection of who we are, because we have fundamentally changed. And they're just there because it's like, I don't know, that's just part of the script that we're in. It doesn't got to do with who you are in that way. Parts of it, I don't know, but let's not, it's not a reflection of who you are. It can be when you don't know who you are, when you don't love yourself, when you don't value yourself. That's kind of what I'm saying. I hope that makes a bit of sense. But there was something that I saw over here that I just also wanted to read. Switch on the laptop again. If I am kind, then I spread kindness to those around me, and they have the experience of kind treatment. If I behave as an adult with integrity, others experience trust. If I behave with cruelty, then others experience pain and chaos. If I lie, then others experience chaos. That much of the world is a reflection of my behavior and my choices in my life. Okay, it's not very poetic there, but you get the idea. This is just something that I found on the internet, written on Quora or whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is. That much of the world is a reflection of my behavior and my choices. You see, and that's kind of what I'm saying. All right, folks, thanks for taking the time. Chat soon.